President Mahama, he professes solutions to the problems of this country. President Mahama sat down and thought that everybody in this country have been working within 8 years. And if you want to test the 8 hours, and if you want to test that this country is running at a one-way shift, in the morning, look at the direction of traffic. In the evening, look at the direction of traffic. What it tells you and I is that in the morning, everybody goes towards one direction because we are all going to work within 8 hours. In the evening, after 4 p.m., if you are going back to Medina, you will see the traffic going back. The same people who came to work are the same people going back. So that one-way economy cannot compete with other countries that are running a three-shift system. So President Mama says, look, I would meet industry and we'll discuss with them how we can also do a three-shift system. Then he made the TUC. And TUC says that one of the reasons why we cannot run a three-shift system, or some of the reasons why we can't run a three-shift system, is because our taxes are high. It's because electricity tariffs are high. And some of us even fear to work in the night. These days, mobile money vendors close as
so
early
security concerns are there.
Absolutely.
Cost of production is also there.
Absolutely. So President Mama says, if you promise me that your jobs will run 3 shifts and recruit 3 more people at specific jobs in your company, I will then meet you halfway. So the monies I would have used to employ more than 1,600 presidential staffers and be paying them at the presidency, that will boost the amount that is taken to Office of Government Machinery to about 2 billion. I'll reduce it and take only 400 million to the Office of Government Machinery. The remaining change, I'll use part of it to give you subsidized taxes. I'll use part of it to give you time of use meters to reduce your electricity tariffs, and I'll use part of it to recruit security people to guard your companies in the night so that you can work at a 3-shift system. So the TUC said, fantastic. What you, President Mahama, is telling us is that one job will now recruit 3 people and run a 3-shift. So in the morning, you have people going. When they close and they are coming home, another group will be going for the 2nd shift. When they close and they are coming home, the 3rd group will be going for the 3rd shift. And then we'll be able to run at the full 24-hour system in this country. How difficult is this to understand?
Isn't this now over reliant and over ambitious on the Office of Government Machinery allocation? Because remember, that's the same funds that we are also talking about to fund the level 100 free tertiary education and all of that. Are you not relying too much on that allocation?
No. We are not going to use only the Office of Government Machinery. I have stated that government will continuously have revenue, and government has revenue from cocoa exportation. Ghana is a net exporter of crude. We continue having revenue from our oil corridors. Every year we get 4 billion from oil corridors. The amount of fuel we bring into this country is about 3.3 billion. Annually, we get a windfall. In the petroleum sector, when we talk of a windfall, that's profit. We get profit of about 1.1 billion. That money is reserve that any president can use to pay for anything in this country. Yet this particular government usually chooses to use that to spend recklessly. You use it to drive long convoys and use it to have a Land Cruiser carrying the chair of the president, so that when he comes into the studio, they will put the chair here for him to sit on. President Mama says, when I come to GH1, I'll sit on a chair. The fuel that will be used to fuel the Land Cruiser that will be carrying the chair here anytime I'm coming here would rather be used to pay for the taxes of companies to recruit Ghanaian youth so that they can work and boost productivity in this country. That is a simple policy for any Ghanaian to understand. Yet there is one man who says he does not understand that, and that is Alhaji Bawumia. He will say the 24-hour economy is working because chop bars run 24 hours. Hospitals run 24 hours. Tomorrow he will say it is a bad policy, so it cannot be implemented. Look at that. One man, you are hot, you are cold. And you see, I have known Alhaji Bawumia and I know him better than you. He's my brother from the north. He's one man who lies unrepentantly, and he lies as if there is no tomorrow again for us to even expose him. Look, you cannot be hot and cold at the same time. Bawumia at a point says that I wasn't in charge of the economy, and I was not at the helm of affairs. And at another time he says that he performed better than President Mahama. So where does he stand? There are 2 things Bawumia must do for us before we judge him, or before we even think of going into the election and even remembering him on the ballot paper. He must either admit that for the 8 years of Akufo-Addo he was entirely useless, or he must admit that he was at the helm of affairs but he was highly incompetent. These are 2 things. You cannot be here and here at the same time, and that has been his attitude even in terms of religion. Look, the last time I said that if we don't take care, for 66 years or 67 years of our independence, Bawumia will plunge this country into religious chaos. Because he is the only flag bearer who still goes around campaigning on religious lines. And Kojo, you and I, let's advise the young man. This is not the way to go as a leader in this country. You cannot go around and tell people to vote for you because you are a Buddhist, because you are a Muslim. And you see, when you go to churches, you go and look at the church and tell them that Jesus is coming again and Jesus is coming to save the world. Meanwhile, the religion that you belong to does not even believe in that. Islam, the difference between Islam and Christianity is that Islam does not believe that Jesus Christ is the savior. So if you go to church and you are telling them that Jesus Christ is the savior, it looks as if you are now coming to trick them and they don't even know where you stand. So let's advise him. This religious tangent is not healthy. Even if you claim they should vote for you because you are a Muslim. When you were a Muslim at 8 years of being a vice president, what did you do for the Muslim communities? There's been a debate on hijab from time immemorial. The only man to have commented on that and allowed Muslim girls with hijab to attend senior high schools was President Mahama. You came in for 8 years, you haven't touched on the issue of Muslim hijab. When President Mahama was president, we used to go to Hajj between 11,000 and 13,000. Today, you said you took a Quran to the Flagstaff House, yet Hajj fares are 75,000, 750 million. How can people go again on pilgrimage? You said you are a Muslim, yet every now and then, your actions depict, somebody different from what the Islamic community believe in. You say you're going to build model schools for Zongo communities. You should show me where the model schools are today. So these lies Bawumia brought in 2016 will no longer wash. I've said that in 2016 we had mercy on Bawumia because we really didn't know who he was. The stories we believed about him were told to us by Akufo-Addo. It was Akufo-Addo who told us he had worked at the Bank of Ghana. Akufo-Addo said he understands the corridors of this country. He is the economic messiah, the economic guru. And anytime they were saying it, he will be shaking the head and behaving funny. But today, we have seen his true length. And look, the most important aspect of leadership we must talk about, especially when it's got to do with Akufo-Addo and Bawumia, is the issue of corruption. 216 pages of their manifesto, corruption appeared only 3 times. They mentioned corruption 3 times.
And isn't that an indication that the government has already done enough in terms of nipping corruption?
It is an indication that their conscience was fighting them when they were writing.
Because they talked about setting up the Special Prosecutor's Office and how that has also helped. And now the NDC finds it expedient only to support the works of the Special Prosecutor when it exonerates former President.
After they formed the Special Prosecutor's Office, in fact, at the vetting of the first Special Prosecutor, he said he couldn't live a single day with criminals and thieves, and that anytime he sees corruption, he chokes and he runs away from the site of corruption. 3-4 months after the man started office, he labeled for the first time our president as being the mother serpent of corruption, and that our president of all corrupt snakes was the biggest python that swallows corrupt money in the economy. True or false? That office was what passed a verdict on Alhaji Bawumia to have stolen 10,000 bags of salad rice from the port, all in the name of his administrator called Kekosai. But today Kekosai is still at the helm of affairs. That Special Prosecutor's Office is what finally came and told us that he's now Anko Anoma. Corruption has choked him to the extent that he wants to fly, that his soul has left his body. And at this particular point, even if he dies because Akufo-Addo and Bawumia's corruption have been stinking in this country.
That's
I am saying that the only corrupt entity, the only corrupt leadership we've had in this country is Akufo-Addo and Bawumia, and their corruption history is there. Look, at a point, Akufo-Addo was testing Bawumia with corrupt deals, and anytime Bawumia did the corruption, we exposed him. Ameri, innovation scandal, we brought Ameri 510 billion. Akufo-Addo on the 31st of July traveled to ECOWAS for a meeting, so he decided to test Bawumia to see whether he's learned corruption on the job. Then he gave the deal to him to sign. It was Bawumia who signed the Ameri innovation scandal that ballooned Ameri from 510 million to 1.3 billion. When they took it to Parliament exposed them. The president had to run back to Ghana just to cover Bawumia, and what the president did was to sack Boakye Jako and lie that he was misled. Till date, Kojo, do you know who misled the president? He didn't tell you and I. Boakye Jako wrote a statement and said when the dust settles, one day he will speak. And the day he will speak, we will see the kind of evil people we have at the helm of affairs. Again, PDS was supposed to come and support the corridors of this country. They were supposed to develop our 33 kV lines so we could export electricity from Ghana to neighboring countries. When PDS was brought, the Millennium Development Fund was supposed to come from America and support us with about 500 million to boost our energy energy corridors. The money was brought. They decided to set up an SPV called PDS. Bawumia and Akufo-Addo went and brought their friends, who were, some of them were barbers and the rest, brought them together and formed this particular SPV. When it was formed, they were supposed to meet what we call condition precedence. Bawumia decided to alter that and make it a condition subsequent, because he knew the intentions of what he was going to do, and he knew that he was going to balloon the contract. Then they presented fraudulent, fake Carl Bank documents and presented to Parliament. When Parliament exposed them, their own minister, Amewu, said the documents they had presented were fraudulent. In the FTR report stated that Bawumia was the one who chaired that meeting that concocted those documents and presented. You know what it did for the wrong it did to you and I? We lost the 500 million media was going to bring. Today, as we speak, 500 million they had collected in the name of ECG is still seated in their accounts. And that is why every day ECG runs at a loss, because Bawumia have refused to release the 500 million. Again, Ghana is now under